Alright, hello everyone. This is LEGO Stunt Rally, and my name is Grill, and I'm very excited to bring this run to LEGOthon. I don't think it has ever been featured in this marathon. This game came out in 2000. It will be 25 years old in September, which is pretty hype. It is not the oldest game in the marathon, but it is pretty close to it. I think we are waiting on the results of the bid war.
Yes, we have just got the results of the bid war in, and with a very, very last second $5 donation from Wrench's grandpa saying, "Here are all my life savings. I need to see Wrench." Wrench gets $26 compared to Barney's 25, and therefore you will be playing as Wrench for this
Wrench.
run.
Alright, let's go. I usually play as Wrench, so don't worry, don't start the timer yet. Oh my god, Chip is so loud. Alright, so what I'm doing now is I'm setting up. LEGO Stunt Rally remembers what character you select, and so if you go into a race and you select the character you want for what you want to start with, it will be there when you go back into the first race. So timing is going to start when I click this racing button. So we'll count down. 3, 2, 1, go. We're going into championship mode. This is one of two championship mode categories. So I am doing the new save file category, which is the easiest one to do once you've installed the game, because nothing is unlocked, and that is what we want. So I'm playing as Wrench. The character doesn't actually make a difference in the run. They all do the same. There's no like character differences, but there are differences with the cars that you can choose at the start. And so I'm using the Dragster because it is the fastest car that we have. It's actually the second fastest car in the game overall. And I'm using the slick tires because they have the least amount of speed reduction. You can also pick like regular tires and extra grip tires, but we're going to avoid any different tires until later on in the run. So we're already done with the first track. There are 21 tracks in this game. There are 4 different biomes. We start here in the city. So here it remembers the car we chose, so we just kind of blast through the character select and the car select menus, and we're already on to our second track. This is where we're going to try and see our first sort of skip. There aren't really very many ways to like skip parts of the track in this game because it has like a checkpoint system, and so it tracks where you are, where you've gone, and where you need to be. But coming up here, we have a loop-de-loop, and we're going to try and skip, yep, right through the middle. All right, I don't get that actually very often, so we're already 1 for 1, which is huge. The hitbox of the loop is kind of weird, and you can sort of dodge the part of it that sends you up into the loop itself. I think it's easiest with the Dragster because it's of how long it is. It's just kind of easy to... Alright, we missed it that time, but that's okay. I'm happy to at least have gotten it once. There aren't very many tracks with loops on them, so we won't really be seeing this very often. The other two, the angle at which you are approaching the loop makes it very hard to like come in at the right angle and get through. There, all right, 2 for 3. I will take 2 for 3 loop skip. That's better than my current PB. So technically, I'm probably ahead of PB right now. I'm basically the only person that runs this game, so if you feel like giving me a run for my money, you should check out the Stunt Rally speedrun.com page. There's a nice install guide that will help you get the game set up. But now we're on to City 3, so we've got our first power-up here, which is the Rocket Boost. And it sounds like what it is. It is a boost. So it just increases your top speed constantly for a while, and this track has 2 of them spaced so evenly that once you get the first one, you will have a boost the entire race, assuming that you don't accidentally miss one or use it at the wrong time or anything like that. So we're already on lap 3. We're flying through these city tracks. Oh my goodness, a little out of control there, but overall we're pretty good. So that's City 3. It's kind of hilarious. These tracks don't have names in both the PC version and the Game Boy Color version. They just don't. There's nowhere in the game that says the name of what these tracks are. But there's an unreleased PS1 version that did have names for all of the tracks. All of the tracks in that version had names, even though it was never released. You can find the beta for it, I think, on Gaming Alexandria. I've played it before on emulator. It's pretty bad, but you know, if you're into that sort of thing, you can go check it out. Let's see. So this game mechanically is very easy. Brad stealing my I missed. All right, we missed both our boosts, and we spun out, and now we're behind. That's okay. CPUs can't really handle this corner very well, especially with the boost. But we'll have to play a little catch up here. But you know, that's okay. CPUs are not the greatest at driving in this game, which is kind of funny because that's the entire point of the game. But we're able to at least snag. How do I have? Oh, I still have one. Okay. So I got the boost that time. We need to. All right, we passed Brad Speedo. I'm not sure what happened to him. He probably fell into the hole. I don't know how I got to. Oh my goodness. All right. So the cool thing about the dragster is that sometimes, because it's so long, it will clip into the ground, and it will do things like that. I didn't want that to happen. It just did. That might happen on a couple other tracks as we go along here, but we're already on to the champion of the city tracks, Radium. Drives this big yellow semi-truck. But what I was going to say before is mechanically this is a very, very simple game. I'm not steering at all. So when I'm going around these corners, that is the game just steering for me. It just like puts me in the middle of the track, and then it's like, go, you know, accelerate and brake. Those are the main two controls. I can use the left and right arrow keys, and in fact I just did right there to avoid the hazardous road. You can sort of like change what lane you're in. That is really the only function of the left and the right arrow keys. Is to change what side of the road, and I used it again there to avoid hitting the jam truck. So jam is another power-up that we'll probably never use or never see used because it's not on any of these tracks. It's not really useful for us. We just want the boosty power-ups, so we're gonna get this again. But as far as driving is concerned, oh, there's the jam. There's the double jam. We got owned. That's okay. As far as the driving is concerned, though, I'm essentially always holding accelerate, and then anytime you see like a puff of smoke behind my car, that is me hitting the brake. And it's better to continuously hold accelerate and then just brake when needed to, rather than letting up on accelerate. It kind of just works better. You're able to maintain a better top speed. So right here, anytime you beat a champion, the next time you go to select your car, it will automatically select their vehicle. And we don't want that. The dragster is OP. Dragster all day, best car until you unlock Mr. X at the end, but by then the run is over and you won't need to use it. So there are a few times where we do have to make a car selection. But really, it doesn't waste too much time. So here we're going to use the left and right arrow keys to dodge the oil truck. Lay some traps for our CPU friends behind us. And as you can see, we are out of the city and into the desert. So that oil slick back there, that's the same as like the jam in the city. Those are like the same power-ups, just in their respective biomes. As far as differences between desert and city, the desert track is much more slippery than the city road. So we're braking a little bit more in this biome on these tracks than we did in the city, but again, we don't want to sacrifice speed for like traction or anything. It's just better to be braking with the slick tires and the dragster than to use a car with say better traction and a lower top speed. The CPUs in this game are not very good. I'm pretty sure that alright, unfortunate. Sometimes you'll spin out, like I just did there, and because of how long my car is, it's easy to get caught up on the edge of the track or like a piece of scenery like that. And if the game has detected that you are stuck or you haven't moved in a few seconds, it will just respawn you basically where you last were. We try to avoid that as much as possible by braking. You really can't over brake in this game unless you brake so hard that you stop moving altogether. So we'll try to avoid that. But sometimes it's inevitable. Sometimes it just happens, and you deal with it, and you keep going. But this track introduces us to a new track piece, the fan. So we'll see the fans here. I'm holding right here so I can grab that boost power up. If you're not holding right, if you're just like in the center of the track, you often will get lifted over the power up by the fan. And here we got our another skip, hill skip. So in most cars that aren't the dragster, if you have a speed boost and you go over that fan, it will blow you into the air very high, and you'll sort of skip part of the track and get flown over the hill there. And we're out of control, but we've maintained. We're good. With the dragster though, you don't actually want to be in a full boost when you get to the fan. It doesn't really lift you up at all if you go over it with a speed boost. We didn't quite get the same hill skip there, but either way, it's still good to save any amount of time there. And then lap 3, we don't really have to worry about it. We just have to make sure we don't spin out here like we did before. So I'm just constantly holding brake around those corners and into the ramp. The ramps that have arrows on them, those are like boosted ramps. They'll increase your speed as you go over them. And that can be good and bad. It's good because it gives you a speed boost, but it's bad because if you start going too fast, you will spin out. You'll start to fishtail. So here I also braked a little bit there at the top. You can see I was starting to skid there. I'm still skidding actually, but we got past everyone. Basically on every track, you just want to break away as soon as possible. Once you're out in front, it's pretty unlikely that you'll get caught unless bad things happen to you. Like those 2 jumps right there. Sometimes you just don't have enough speed to make it over them, and you fall, and you waste some time waiting for the game to realize that you got stuck, and then it will respawn you. So hopefully we don't have that happen to us on any of our laps here, but we'll see. But yes, so as I was saying before, the CPUs are bad at this game. They don't ever use brakes, so you'll see them like sliding around the track a lot. And I remember reading like an interview about the development of this game, and one of the lead developers said like they designed the game such that you can beat it by just holding accelerate and like never letting up on it, which I thought was kind of funny. Like that's like, oh my goodness, Sandy's here. All right, I gotta focus quick. We gotta win this race. Sandy goes through the mud or the quicksand a lot faster than we do. Her car has much better traction than we do, and so she's been able to maintain pretty close to us here. All right, I was really afraid I was gonna miss one of those. So as long as we can get through this quicksand here without Sandy ruining our day. All right, we're good. We're good. That was closer than I would like, but we made it through. I also really like, so that was the desert night theme. We'll see it one more time. I like the orange hues of everything. I don't mind the daytime desert. I just think it's very bright. But that's just me. Maybe you like bright yellows in your face, but I'm a dark mode enjoyer and much prefer the nighttime desert to the daytime. But anyway, yeah, so I've never tried beating the game just holding accelerate, but now I kind of want to just do a run that's only holding accelerate and no other button, and see if they were lying to me or not. I do think it's interesting that they decided to have the game steer for you. There's an executable flag you can set that allows you to turn yourself. But I think like being an isometric game, that doesn't change your viewpoint. Like when you go around a corner, you might just get like confused with your lefts and rights. I've tried that before and I did get confused. So I understand why they did what they did. But it makes it a pretty easy game mechanically. There are a few tracks that can definitely give you issues that we'll see later on in the race, and even the last track, like Sandy was very close to me, and if you lose the race, like you have to do it again, and obviously you don't want that. So hopefully we don't have any more close calls like that one, but we have some tougher tracks coming later in the race that I'll talk about when we get there. But for now, that was Desert 4, I believe, which means we're almost done with the desert biome. And Desert 5, Champion Baron Flambeau. This is actually the most, I would say this is the toughest champion you face in the game, because he's almost always right behind you, right? Like even from the very beginning here, he's just like right there. There's a lot that can go wrong on this track. There's a lot that you can lose pretty big time. It's like right there, like he was ahead of me. We're taking this fan at a weird angle. What is steering? All right, we made it. I think he got stuck in the quicksand, which is good for us. And then up here, we're gonna grab this power up. I don't have any idea what the actual name of this power up is, and we'll only use it later on if we need to. But essentially, it's like a pink ring around us, and if a CPU gets too close to us, it will respawn them, basically where they would have run into us. And so we hold on to this just in case Baron ever gets like too close to us. We're gonna brake harder on that corner. We don't want to end up in the quicksand. That was pretty good. I don't really understand how this game decides like where to have you drive, like what the checkpoints are. Like I definitely was not on the road there for a lot of that, and it's like, oh, yeah, you completed those checkpoints. We're just gonna have you keep going. But I'll take it. You know, maybe that's a a feature, not a bug, or maybe it's both, and I'll take it. But this is pretty good. Oh yeah, Barrett is way behind. We're cooking here. I will try to do loop skip lap 3, but or I will just get stuck here and not do it. All right. Well, I don't know. We probably still have time to do it. So the loop skip on this track is not hard. Well, it is hard. It's hard because of the angle at which you come at the loop. But the problem is that when you do it, all right, I missed. When you do it, a lot of times you'll end up, there's like a ledge jump right there at the end. You'll like clip onto the wall and get stuck, and then you'll just be stuck there. And so it like loses you more time than you save from actually doing the loop skip itself. So I tend to not do loop skip there, just because you almost always get stuck after it. And just like that, we are into the jungle biome. So we are we're a little less than halfway done with the run. Like I said before, there's only 4 biomes, there's 5 tracks per biome, and then there's 1 championship track at the end. So 21 tracks total. And we are into the jungle. The jungle terrain, the road is more slippery than the city, but less so than the desert. So we're still braking a lot, but we're braking less than in the desert, just to be safe. I brake off this hill here because more often than not, if you don't, you will end up skidding when you hit the ground, and that's bad. Right there, that fan, I don't know, that part's tough because you have like double boosted ramp into double fan, so it's hard to not like skid off the road at the top. It's not the end of the world, and if you try to go slow over the boosted ramp, sometimes you won't have enough speed, and you'll hit the wall that the fan is on, and then you'll fall and have to get respawned, and that's bad, and you don't want that. Here, all right. Yep, we were about to spin out there at the end, but I was holding brake basically the entire time because I didn't want to spin out. That's the major time loss in this game, is just spinning out.
Mind if I jump in with a quick message?
Yeah, go ahead.
Perfect. So next up we have the Football Mania Speedrun Skills Run by Prince. And we currently have a bid war going for that between whether we play as Redbeard or play as Captain Click. Currently it is standing at $20 for Redbeard and 0 for Captain Click, but we have basically until the end of this run for that to be changed. So if you want to see Prince playing as Captain Click, or you want to make sure that Prince is playing as Redbeard, be sure to donate either way. But yeah, back to you, Grill.
Thank you. Yes, I'm looking forward to that Football Mania run. That was a game I played a lot as a kid. I really like it. I haven't played it in years, and I'm pretty hyped that it made its way into the marathon this year. Oh, we're gonna get stuck on the wall. So that was an unfortunate skid that just because my car is so long, wasn't able to make the 0-point turn around without getting stuck on a wall. So right here, this section is actually very tricky. I'm holding left there to avoid the rough road, then I'm holding right, and then I'm braking hard around that U-turn right there. If you don't brake hard enough, you will skid off the road and fall down into the waterfall, and that's bad. You don't want to do that. And you have to brake a lot more than you think you do. I don't know. I think just the angle at which you're coming around the corner and like right there, I just like skidded out, almost for no reason. So this is very slidey around here, so we got to take extra care to make sure that we don't end up at the bottom of a waterfall. But just like that, we're already 2 jungle tracks in. Feels good. Moving into jungle 3. Probably has some name. Ooh, this is alright, nice. So we've got our next great power-up in this track that hopefully I will get at the start here. Hopefully I don't get bumped out of the way. Nope, we're good. Alright. This is the Super Steer power-up. So not only is the game still steering for me, as it always is, it is also making it so I don't have to slow down around the corners and increasing my top speed. Super OP. And just like the track where we had the boost, you're able to time this one where you can just use them at like, opposite sides of the track and just have this power up going for the entire race. The only issues we might run into is that because we're going so fast, we're actually going to probably end up lapping some of them, and that can cause some of these power-ups to not be here. But luckily, it respawned in time where we will have it. We just have to get past our friend Megahertz here. Please get out of the way, sir. I had to use that one a little bit early just to make sure I didn't skid off the road. But that should get us to the end of the track, just like that. So, that is definitely the best power-up in the game, because it's essentially the boost, like the speed, like the rocket boost power-up, but it also steers for you really well. And that's huge, and that's what we like to see. So we're on to race 4, Jungle 4. We're gonna brake a little bit going over that. We're still skidding. We're gonna try and beat everyone to this part here. All right, we're good. We're good now. We're ahead. So this track is pretty long, especially compared to the track we just drove. This is probably one of the longer tracks in the game. And it's also like you have to be very careful because it's layered, it's terraced, as you can see. We're on like the 2nd level now, and if you fall off the track down to a lower level, usually when you skid off the track, your car will try to drive back towards it, which is good. We want that. But if you fall off and you're a level below where you want to be, there's no way for you to get up there. So your car will just drive into the wall for a couple seconds before the game realizes, oh, I need to respawn you, which is just a lot of time loss. I'm also trying to hold left around all of these parts of the track that jut out here. If you don't hold left or don't hold whatever direction you need to hold to avoid them, you'll just run into them and kind of like bounce around it, but it's slower than if you just hold left instead. So far this isn't too bad. You may have noticed at the top of the track here, so we're coming up to it again, there's a hazard track piece here, and on there, right there. Alright, good, we're 2 for 2, not getting crushed. So I call it the crusher in the jungle because that's pretty much what it looks like. So basically, if you're driving through the crusher and it comes down on you and you get crushed, that's bad because that's a respawn. It'll respawn you right in front of the track piece, so it's not like a huge time loss, but obviously you want to not do that. You want to not lose time, obviously. And so hopefully, all right. Well, I was gonna say we've been having a very good race, and so because it's basically like a global timer when it goes down. We should be on a good pace to not hit it on lap 3, but then Sid decided to yeet me off the track there. Although I did just see it go down, however, I forgot to brake. So here we go. Let's see. Are we going to go 3 for 3? Yes, we are. Let's go. All right. So despite the 2 screw-ups I had there, 3 now on lap 3, that was a pretty good Jungle 4 overall. That track isn't hard, really, because you get ahead of the CPUs pretty early, and again, once you're ahead, once you've broken away, it's pretty simple. But now here we are, Jungle 5, boss time, Snake, my boy Snake, Jungle Champion. This one also isn't too bad. Like, Snake usually stays with you early on, but we have one of these pink ring power-ups again. So if he ever gets too close to us, we could just activate our pink ring, and he'll be respawned, and we'll gain some time and some space on him. But overall, this track isn't too bad. Like, this is definitely an easier track than Barrens. We do have one section of mud here. Mud is the quicksand of the desert is the mud of the jungle. I think in the city that hazard is wet cement. And then in the Arctic, oh, there goes Snake. He couldn't handle it. He wasn't using his brake. In the Arctic, that hazard I think is thin ice, and we'll see that. We'll definitely see that coming up here in the next 5 races a few times. But overall, jungle is pretty easy. Like, city tracks are by far the easiest. There's a couple difficult desert tracks. But jungle's usually a breeze. I never really have any issues with the jungle tracks. Getting through them is never too bad. But what you'll notice, and I'll bring this up again when it happens. So, like I said before, and we're flying, we're going off the road. Like I said before, when you defeat a champion, the next time you are on the car select screen, it will choose their vehicle for you automatically. They're like, oh, obviously you want to use their car because it's better. And in a lot of ways it probably is better. Like, it's obviously better traction, but it's not as fast as our dragster here. However, we are about to go into the Arctic, and the Arctic is slippery as heck. And so not only are we going to keep Snake's car, we're actually going to choose the grip tires. Snake's car has the best traction out of any car that we have gained so far. And obviously we choose the grip tires because this is very slippery. We definitely want to not be sliding. Like, I will gladly sacrifice some speed to not slide around the track. So that's the only time where the game auto-selecting the previous champion's car is actually a benefit to us. We don't have to cycle through all of the cars to get back to our trusty dragster. Overall, like, these first 2 Arctic tracks are pretty chill, but just look at how fast we went through that thin ice there. The dragster would still be back in there, so that's really a nice perk of having Snake's car and the grip tires for this stretch of the run for the Arctic tracks. One thing I haven't mentioned yet at all is the scenery on the tracks. So this game has like a track editor, which was really cool at the time. Like, you're able to just like make your own tracks and then race on them. And this game also has 4-player multiplayer. You can have 4 people playing multiplayer on a keyboard. In the year 2000 was absolutely insane. Those were really great times. But the track editor, you can make your own tracks, and that was really cool. I spent probably more time making tracks than actually playing the game when I was younger, because it was so fun. And a lot of the scenery that you can choose are from actual, like, Lego sets. Like, we're in the Arctic, and so you may have already seen some of the Arctic sets. that were available around the time. But in addition to Arctic sets, right there, those yellow tents are from the Extreme Team theme of sets, which was a theme in the late 90s, like 97, 98. We got the Octan logo right there from Lego Island 1 and beyond. And then earlier on in the desert we had like the adventurers themes, both in the desert and in the jungle we had those themes. So I think it's really cool that they incorporated some other Lego themes that aren't necessarily a part of the actual biome into the game as well. And we're floundering, but that's okay. Being ahead of two. All right, this should be pretty good. We want to not go crazy here because right around this corner we got to snag that ice beam power up. It is so bad. We're just gonna use it. It is so bad if the CPUs ahead of you get this, because you will be that car in the block of ice, not them. So right here, this is the Arctic version of the Crusher from the jungle. I have no idea what it is supposed to be here. I call it the Particle Scrambler because it just looks like two like rays of energy emanating out from the sides. And so you might think like, why not stop in front of it and just wait for it to stop, shooting its rays of energy. And that mainly that's because, at least in the Arctic, the amount of time it spends being shooting the rays of energy, it is faster for you to actually just plow into it, and then after you have hit it, you have some invulnerability frames that just allow you to drive right through it. And so, more often than not, it is better to just plow right into it, scramble your particles willy-nilly, and then drive back through it using your invulnerability frames. If you're able to time it, or if you have a power-up that you want to keep, because it will reset your power up. Like, you won't have one if you had it going into it. If you want to keep that would be a time when you would want to wait for it to stop going before you drive through it. But that we really only encounter something like that one time on a later track, and so unfortunately we hit it all three laps here. It is, again, like, it's a global cycle. It kind of depends. Like, if you have a really, really good race, you can sometimes go through it 2 for 3 without getting hit, but not this time. But that's okay. We got through it. Moving on to Arctic 3, literally the worst track of the entire run. Oh my goodness. I would love to meet the designer who made this track and like who they had it out for when they were designing this, because so right off the bat it's just like very curvy, which is bad for the Arctic, right? Obviously the CPUs struggle with this, like Snake just got caught up there on the edge. But coming up here, we have a section right here. I need to be going so slow over that fan. Oh, we did it. Oh my goodness. I thought I was cooked when Snake hit me. That fan. Oh my goodness. So as you can see, there's a lot of thin ice around the track here. Basically anywhere in the off-road in this part, if you go off the road, you are ending up in the thin ice. And that's bad. It takes you like a few seconds to sink fully into the ice, and then it will respawn you only once you've completely sank into the ice. And so this fan up here is placed in a super amazing location. And so we have to brake really. That was beautiful. That was excellent. That was a very good, like, you might think, wow, you're going really slow, and I'm like, yeah, you have to be going very slow over that fan. Like, if you have just like slightly more speed than I had, you will for sure end up in the ice. I'm actually not sure how I didn't get bodied when Snake hit me. I thought for sure that was going to just send me far enough into the ice where I wouldn't be able to drive out in time. But luckily we're here. We're doing pretty well. So even if we screw up lap 3, we're pretty far ahead of everyone. This has definitely been a run killer for me. I've lost this race this far into a run because of this section. That was excellent. All right. When you're in the air, you want to be holding nothing. You don't want to hold accelerate. You don't want to hold brake. Occasionally, brake will double as reverse. So you'll start going backwards. You don't ever want to be going backwards. There's never a time where you go backwards, but it doubles as going backwards. So if you hit it when you're in the air, after your car has turned around, you will just reverse into the ice, and that's bad. So 3 for 3, not falling in that ice, huge. That's pretty good. This track is also not easy. So this is Arctic 4. You are against the 3 previous champions that you have defeated, and you kind of need to get ahead early. And we didn't. Oh, he didn't use it. Okay, so I saw Baron pick up the ice beam, which he did use because I guess Radium got, but he didn't hit me with it, which is huge. He fell in the waterfall there, also huge. And now we just need to get past Snake, which we've done, so we're ahead, but we're not. We're nowhere in the clear yet, because we have these 2 ramps that sometimes you just don't have enough speed to make it over. Luckily, we got it there. We got to this boost before anyone else, and we're off. So that was a pretty good start. Definitely not like we're not in the clear on this race until you have finished the race, and hopefully we won't see why. But when I was doing a few practice runs this week, I lost this race because Snake got too far ahead. Snake is the best for like this Arctic biome, definitely like way better than Radium and Baron Flambeau. But I lost this race, and you know it's not a short race, so if you do that, like if you get close to the end, you're basically losing like 2 minutes of time. Like that would just be a reset, obviously. But this is a marathon. We don't reset here. That means we just got to win the first time. So hopefully, all right, we're already on lap 3. For some reason I actually thought we were on lap 2, but that's cool. So hopefully we can make it. Uh-oh, Radium in my way. We made it 3 for 3, huge. That actually went really well. I will take that any day of the week. And now we're on to Arctic 5 against champion Glacia, our ice queen. This is also not a hard track. So we'll kind of like getting ahead of her at the start is usually not hard. Like we're already ahead. And then when she goes over this ramp, she goes way out of control. It usually ends up in that pit. I don't know if you saw it, but there's actually an alien ship at the bottom of that ice pond there. Just a nice little nod to the UFO theme. So here we have a power up there. Oh, so close. The hitbox for that track is rough. Like I was sure I made it through, but I didn't. But that's okay. The crane power-up we saw back there is an interesting concept because it will give you randomly any power-up in the game. So it gave me the oil slick from the desert. Normally you can't get that in the Arctic because it's something else. But it was like, here you go, have some oil. Which we don't really want or need, and it's fine. But on the off chance you get like the super steer power-up or the boost power-up, like here, okay. Okay, and we made it through there. Holy heck. Alright. Let's go. This is huge. Alright, that was sick. I rarely get this or the boost, and we spun out a little bit, but that's okay. That was like some time save right there. Just because I'm able to take those corners. I probably should have saved it and used it right there, but I kind of just like got way too excited that I even had it. But that's cool. That's nice to have. If we can get that lap 3 as well, I'll take it. But if not, like that's okay. And that was a time where I was debating. All right, no, that's okay. We'll just use this. I was debating waiting for this, but I decided to just go for it, and it was good that I did that because it had not yet started shooting yet. And so we're getting close. Drive, please. Thank you. We're getting close to the end of the Arctic, and that means we're close to the end of the run. We have 1 track left against the champion and owner of Stunt Island, Mr. X. And so we are switching back to our trusty dragster. This track should go well enough, hopefully. So we outspeed Mr. X here for some reason. I think it's because he's not using the slick tires, and we grab... Oh, he got it too. Alright, that's fine. He's spinning out. So we wait a little bit to use that boost there. And that is because up here we have some jumps, we have some ramps, and if you have the boost, it gets you up these ramps pretty much every time without fail. And so we save it for that, just so that we know we have it. So here's a crusher in the city. So we always know we'll miss it lap 1 if we had the start that I had there. This fan section, not fun. But I figured out the best way to get through it, and that was a pretty good fan section. So the problem with that section is a lot of the time you will, if you're not using the left and right arrow keys at all, you'll start like moving across the track from wall to wall, and every time you hit the wall, you basically lose all of your speed. And so sometimes you'll just get stuck, like a fan will be blowing you up into the air without you really moving forward, and that can be really bad. That's not good. And then if you're stuck on a fan long enough, like if you've made no forward progress, the game will eventually just respawn you. And we're spinning out. Calm down, calm down. Alright. This might make the jump section a little bit crazy here because we wasted some, but we're good. Huge. Huge. So we're good, pretty good. We might hit this. Oh, crush! Oh my! All right, sorry that I just freaked out a little bit. Usually, if you get crushed there, it puts you before the loop, and then you have to go through the loop again. Apparently, I was far enough through it that it spawned me in front of it. That has never happened before. I'm here for it though. That I was very afraid. That is also where I crashed the game earlier this week. I had never done that before, but I hit the crusher, I got crushed right there, and it's like, oh, your game is gonna crash. So I'm here for all of this right now, and we're already on lap 3, so we're pretty close to the end here. Time will be at the end of this race. We've still got a ways to go to get there, but we're already on lap 3. It's looking pretty good. 1, 2, 3, easy. Brake really hard there, otherwise you'll end up sliding off the edge. Don't want that. So there we saw the crusher go down, so we are good. That's like 2.5 out of 3 missing the crusher. I'm still like surprised that happened on lap 2. I've never been respawned after the crusher like that. And that was 3 very good fan sections. This has been a very, very good Mr. X. And then you get the super steer power up here that just takes you through this entire section very easily. I hold left here because there's just this slew of off-roads. So time is coming up right now. Oh my. That was yeah, thank you. What was my time?
I am not sure at the moment. I got a bit of delay on the stream, but it looks like it's going to be a low 41.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. My PB is a mid 40, and I'll take that for sure. Excellent. Well, thank you everyone. This was LEGO Stunt Rally, the new save file category of championship mode. If you're interested at all in running this game, you should check out the Stunt Rally channel in LEGO Speedrun server, or hit up speedrun.com /LSR. There's an installation guide, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for showcasing this run for us. We're gonna take a quick break now, and then after the break, we will be back with some LEGO Football Mania. So see you after the break.